Some people vanish, and the world barely notices. A missing report is filed. A photograph circulates. And then, silence. But every so often, that silence breaks open, and what spills out is uglier than anyone imagined. This is the story of a man who disappeared in the spring of 2026. A man whose name was Jason Coulthart. And it is the story of the shallow grave that finally gave him back, and the woman who is still out there tonight. You are watching Nightfall Files. What you are about to hear is drawn from public records and official statements. Where a fact has not been proven in court, we will say so. Nothing here is invented. May 24th, 2026. Niceville, Florida. A quiet town on the Emerald Coast, the kind of place where neighbors know each other's cars. On that day, a 43-year-old man named Jason Christopher Coulthart was reported missing. At first, it was just that, a missing person. Adults disappear for 100 reasons. Some are running from something. Some simply want to be gone. Investigators are trained not to assume the worst. But days passed, and Jason did not come home. Think about what a missing person case really is in those first hours. It is phone calls that go straight to voicemail. It is a car that never moves. It is family members driving the same roads over and over, telling themselves he'll turn up. For Jason Coulthart, the days turned into weeks. And in Walton County, just east of where he lived, something was waiting to be found. A piece of ground on a street called Sunset Lane, June 25th, 2026. 1 month after Jason was reported missing. The Niceville Police Department received 2 separate statements, 2 people independently pointing to the same thing. A body, they said, on a property in Freeport. 2 independent tips. That detail matters. When 2 people who may not even know each other describe the same location, investigators listen. A residential search warrant was drawn up for a property on Sunset Lane, and that same day, it was executed. Picture the scene as investigators would have found it. A search warrant is not a dramatic thing from the outside. Vehicles on a residential street, officers moving with purpose, yellow tape strung between fence posts, neighbors watching from their porches, phones in hand. And then, on that Freeport property, they found what the tips had promised. Human remains, buried in a shallow grave. A shallow grave is one of the saddest phrases in this kind of work. It tells you the burial was hurried, panicked, done by someone with no time and no plan. Someone trying to make a person disappear before the questions could start. The remains could not be identified on site. That takes time. It takes forensic examination, dental records, sometimes DNA. So for days, the county held its breath. A body had been found. But whose? This week, the answer came back. The remains recovered from that shallow grave on Sunset Lane were confirmed to belong to Jason Coulthart, the missing man from Niceville. The search was over, and a homicide investigation had begun in earnest. For Jason's family, the confirmation is the cruelest kind of relief. The not knowing ends. But it ends in the worst possible way, with the certainty that he is never coming home. We do not sensationalize the people at the center of these cases. Jason Coulthart was a person, 43 years old, someone's son, someone the people of Niceville had known and seen and spoken to. However he came to be in that ground, he did not deserve it. Now the questions turned outward. Who put him there? And according to the Walton County Sheriff's Office, that question already had a name attached to it. Investigators identified a suspect wanted for Jason Coulthart's murder, a 38-year-old woman. Her name is Isabelle Johnson, and as of the making of this episode, she has not been caught. The Sheriff's Office has described Johnson as dangerous. They have asked anyone who sees her or who knows where she might be to contact them immediately and not to approach her. She is, tonight, somewhere. A wanted woman moving through a country of 300 million people. But here is where this case becomes something larger than one killing. Because Isabelle Johnson did not vanish on her own. According to investigators, she had help. A whole chain of it. In the days after the body was found, the arrests began. Not of the suspected killer, she was already gone. but of the people accused of helping her stay gone. One by one, the sheriff's office says, they closed in on the network around her. The charge that keeps appearing is a chilling one: accessory after the fact to capital murder. In plain language, that means being accused not of the killing itself, but of helping the person responsible escape justice afterward. Hiding them, moving them, lying for them. The first names to surface were Martin and Sandra Leverton of Fort Walton Beach. Both were arrested and charged as accessories after the fact to capital murder. According to investigators, they allegedly assisted Johnson as she tried to disappear. What does assisting look like, according to the sheriff's office? In the Levertons case, investigators say they admitted to retrieving Johnson's belongings, supplying her with a cell phone, and attempting to find her refuge out of state, somewhere across a state line, beyond the immediate reach of Walton County deputies. Sit with that for a moment. A man is dead in a shallow grave. And instead of picking up the phone to police, these individuals are accused of packing a bag, handing over a phone, and looking at a map for the fastest way out of Florida. Then came a third arrest. Bobby Wagstaff, 31, of Sunset Lane, the very same street where the remains were found. She was charged with accessory to capital murder after the fact, and separately with possession of methamphetamine. That address is not a coincidence you can ignore. The grave was on Sunset Lane. An arrested accessory lived on Sunset Lane. Investigators do not release everything they know during an active case, but the geography alone tells you these lives were tangled together in that small stretch of Freeport. For a few days, that was the picture: a suspect on the run, and 3 people accused of smoothing her path. But the sheriff's office was not finished. On July 10th, 2 more names were added to the list. Michael Ray White, 74 years old, of Santa Rosa Beach, and Kathleen Morris, 59, also of Santa Rosa Beach. The 4th and 5th people charged in connection with the murder of Jason Coulthart. White faces accessory after the fact and obstruction. The detail investigators shared about White is the kind that stays with you. According to the sheriff's office, when White first spoke to investigators, he denied even knowing Isabelle Johnson. He said, in effect, that she was a stranger, but that story did not hold. Investigators say White later admitted that Johnson had in fact been at his home, not once, but on multiple occasions in the days after the body was found. The stranger he claimed not to know had been under his roof. According to investigators, White allowed Johnson, along with a second suspect, Martin Leverton, to stay at his home. He is accused of providing supplies, and then, they say, of helping to coordinate moving Johnson to a second location, passing her along like a parcel to the next hiding place. Between June 25th and June 30th, the same days the county was searching, the same days deputies were knocking on doors, investigators say this network kept Isabelle Johnson one step ahead. 5 days. 5 days of alleged phones, supplies, safe houses, and lies. Think about the machinery of a manhunt during those 5 days. Bulletins going out, license plates being checked, every reported sighting chased down. And on the other side, allegedly, a small circle of people working just as hard to keep one woman invisible. It raises the question every one of these cases forces us to ask: why? Why would people, a couple in Fort Walton Beach, a woman on Sunset Lane, a 74-year-old man in Santa Rosa Beach, take on that risk for someone accused of murder? The honest answer is that we do not yet know. That is what a trial is for. Fear, loyalty, debt, addiction, family ties. Investigators have not laid out a single reason in public, and we will not invent one for them. But the choices, as alleged, are stark. At any moment, any one of them could have called police. According to the charges, none of them did. Let us be careful and fair here. Every person named in this episode, the Levertons, Bobby Wagstaff, Michael Ray White, Kathleen Morris, has been arrested and charged. They have not been convicted. In this country, an arrest is an accusation, not a verdict. Each is entitled to their day in court, and Isabelle Johnson, the woman wanted for the murder itself, has not been convicted of anything either. She is a suspect. The sheriff's office believes she is responsible. But belief is not proof, and proof is what a courtroom demands. Still, the facts that are confirmed are heavy enough on their own. A man reported missing in May. A shallow grave uncovered in June by 2 independent tips. Remains identified as Jason Coulthart. A suspect at large, and 5 people accused of helping her run. There is a particular cruelty in a case like this. It is not just the act itself. It is the aftermath. The idea that when a person is killed and buried in a hurry, there may be others who learn of it and choose silence, who choose the accused over the victim. Because every day that Isabelle Johnson stays free is a day built on those choices. A phone that was handed over instead of surrendered. A door that opened instead of a call being made. A body on Sunset Lane, and a chain of people who, investigators say, looked the other way. So where does the case stand tonight? A homicide investigation, active and open. 5 arrests. And 1 central figure still missing. Not the victim now, but the woman accused of making him one. The Walton County Sheriff's Office is still searching for Isabelle Johnson, 38. They consider her dangerous. If you have seen her, or if you know anything about where she might be, do not approach her. Contact the Walton County Sheriff's Office. A single call could be the one that ends this, because that is how cases like this so often turn. Not with a chase, not with a shootout, but with a stranger who recognizes a face, picks up a phone, and decides, unlike the people now facing charges, to say something. Jason Coulthart was reported missing on a spring day in Niceville, Florida. It took a month, 2 tips, and a search warrant on Sunset Lane to find him. His family finally has an answer. What they do not yet have is justice. We will follow this case as it moves through the courts and as the search for Isabelle Johnson continues. When there is a development, we will bring it to you, carefully and truthfully. I'm your host, and this has been Nightfall Files. If this story mattered to you, subscribe so you're here when the next chapter is written. And remember, somewhere out there, someone always knows something. Sometimes it's you.